Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+. Rated TV MALV. Viewer discretion advised. Maya Lopez has betrayed her mentor, the notorious Kingpin. Now on the run, she returns to her hometown to prepare for the biggest fight of her life. Don't miss Marvel Studios' hardest-hitting series yet. An epic 5-episode event. Marvel Studios Echo. All episodes streaming January 9th, only on Hulu and Disney+.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
What day is it?
It's Thirsty Thursday, and this is Bloody Happy Hour.
This is Bloody Happy Hour, your
favorite
true crime
podcast.
Also, if you are our fans that bought Manscaped.com, you need to tell all your friends how good your balls smell right now.
Yes.
Take a whiff. Tell your person next to you how good they smell, and then tell them to use the code
BHH
at
manscaped.com
so that their balls can smell well.
Listen, I walked in here and April was like, "Are you wearing Manscaped?" And I was like, "I don't have balls, but yes," because it smells so good. And what can they get? The lawnmower, the weed whacker, the ball deodorant, the ball, everything to do with balls.
And if you have all that and you just need a bag to put it in, you can get the cool
and if
little
you just
leather
want
bag.
some like refresh, like you just want to like refresh and get just the lotion. What is not lotion? It's
Toner.
Yeah,
Toner.
Yeah. So you go to manscaped.com, code BHH, you get 20% off, free shipping, and I mean, you're
It's
living
worth
your
it.
best life.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. Everybody is 100% happy.
I mean, that's what I hear.
Free shipping. Caroline, what is the story for today?
Well, first of all, this random guy was messaging me on Facebook, which I don't even get on Facebook, so I don't even know why I read this message.
What's that noise?
Oh, that's my
Brown bag in it, y'all.
That's my brown bag that you got me because, you know, I've been having such a rough time. I didn't know if I would make it today to do this recording. But this dude was like, "Oh, I don't have a job, so I'm a bum and I drink whiskey." And I was like, "Are you my ex-husband? Bye." Like, what? Who?
Why
would you
messaging
say
that?
that? I don't know. He asked me about if I still did Camp Gladiator, and I was like, "No."
You
Who
probably
are
trained
you?
them for years and you don't even remember.
I mean, probably. But then he started saying he wanted to go get drinks, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" And then he's tried to tell me he didn't have a job, and I was like, "Do you think that's gonna make me want to go get drinks?"
What was Alyssa's?
I cannot even with these people. If you are a scrub, do not try to slide into the DMs. Okay?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Alyssa's motto is, I'm pretty sure I've told y'all since day one. She's telling some of our single friends
Don't
this.
get dictified.
Don't get dickmatized.
Oh, digmatized.
One, and if they're poor, you fucking run. No movies, no dates, no dinner, fucking run. You Kool-Aid with the ones who have money.
What's Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid, cupcake.
You Kiki? Is that the same?
You quality time.
Oh.
Thought you was black.
I mean, I know what Kiki, but I don't know about Kool-Aid and cupcake.
Simpin'. You know what simpin' is?
Simpin' ain't easy.
Okay.
It's a screen name. Okay. Do you recognize this photo?
Oh, I know that name.
That's what we're doing today. We are doing the disappearance of Tara Calico.
Calico.
And mainly because this came across my feed the other day saying that it was solved on who this person was in this photo. So this is a Polaroid.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 30-year-old disappearance.
Go look on the Instagram. It's posted.
Posted on Instagram, and if you're just like, I ain't got time
Or
for that, I need to Google it, just
Facebook.
Google Tara Calico Polaroid.
Okay.
So this is a story about a Polaroid photo. So this happened in New Mexico, in the Mesas. And this is a young college student, and she just is riding her bicycle, and she's just going on her bike ride, and all of a sudden she vanishes into thin air, and there's questions that still remain to this day.
What's the city in New Mexico?
It's Valencia,
Oh, okay.
Valencia County,
Okay.
Albuquerque. So September 20th, 1988, Patty Doyle is at home with her daughter, Tara. Well, this was in Bowling, New Mexico. So this is half an hour from Albuquerque. Tara's living at home with her mom and her stepdad, John. So Patty
Okay.
and John, and then we have stepsister, Michelle.
Okay.
They kind of stay around the whole time. So Tara was like very active in high school, and she did cheerleading. She ran track, and now she's in college, and she's staying active. She's doing tennis, and she goes on these long bike rides. Almost daily, she just enjoys being active. So
Okay.
she's currently 19 years old. She's a sophomore in college. She goes to the University of New Mexico, Valencia, and she's like, hey, Mom, I'm about to go on a bicycle ride, and she's like, but I need to borrow your bike because my bike just got a flat tire. So her mom's bike that she rides is a hot pink Huffy 10-speed.
Oh,
Yes.
I was thinking like a road bike. Like
Well,
she's a
I was too.
triathlete.
That's kind of what I was too.
I had that in third grade.
I don't know how far you're riding. Did it have a basket on the front?
It did.
I think so.
And the little streamers on the.
Oh, and the streamers and the little things on the spikes.
Yeah.
Or-
That like move up and down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mom's like, yeah, no problem. You can take my bike. I don't need it. And so around 9:30 that morning, Tara's like, she's getting ready for a ride, and she's like, okay, I'll be back by 11:30. And she's like, but if I'm not back by noon, to come get me because I have a date with my boyfriend. We're gonna go play tennis.
Okay.
I guess her mom would just, I don't know if that, yeah.
Because she would probably say, "Here's my route."
Yeah,
Come, just
so
pick
the
me up.
mom knew her. So she went on this route.
That's smart. Same route all the time.
That's not smart.
Oh, I was gonna say it's smart that she told her mom her route,
So the mom had actually been on this route with her before.
so it's the same route all the time.
She's gone on different routes, but this one route her mom had gone on, and her mom was like, I don't like that route because I felt like there was this car that was following us too close, and you don't need to go on that route. And then she's like, Mom, I'm 19, not 9.
Yeah.
And then Mom was like, well, at least take some mace.
Yeah.
So this is where we are now. So she's going on her bike ride. She's like, bye, here we go, my bike ride. And yeah, because this route was also kind of isolated. Like once you get outside the neighborhood, it's like, it's just this road. Like it's the 17 miles down and 17 miles back of road. There's nothing.
Oh, that's how it's how it looks over there. It's horrible. It's like driving in West Texas and then going to New Mexico. It's nothing but
Yep.
tumbleweeds and
Yeah.
not even grass.
Not even grass. Not even grass. So the mom never went. Patty never went with her on that route again because she just didn't like it. It freaked her out. And she just had a bad feeling, but she tried to warn her. And anyway, so she's on her ride, and 11:30 comes around. Tara's not back home. Do you say Tara or Tara? I say Tara.
I say Tara, but some people's name is Tara if it's Tara.
Well, I just think it's Tara.
Oh, okay. What is it?
I mean, I think it's Tara.
Oh, okay.
But I've heard people say Tara.
Oh, sorry if it's Tara, y'all.
So this is Texas maybe. And so it's 11:30. She's not back. Mom's like, okay, it's 11:45. Mom's like, okay, well, so she's supposed to be back by 12. Now it's 12. It's noon. She's not back. And Mom's like, okay, remember there's no cell phones. So this is like
Yeah.
1988. I don't even know if there's pagers. Y'all probably don't even know what a pager is, but there's not a pager. So
No.
you have to go out and look
Find
for it.
them.
So she knows the route. She hops in the car, and she's like, all right, let me go get her. Driving down the road, 17 miles there. Doesn't see her. Not a trace. Nothing. This is a 17-mile stretch along State Road 47. Southeast and away from the Rio communities.
Okay.
You might know what that means. And then 17 miles back. So Patty drives down, no sign of Tara or the bike, nothing. So she's like, okay, I'm not going to panic yet because maybe I'm here out driving and she's already made it home. Yeah. So she gets back home and there's no Tara.
Oh.
So she's kind of starting to freak out. So Patty and John call the police. And they report her missing, and they're telling the officers this is very unlike her. She's very punctual. That's why she wanted me to make sure to go get her. If she wasn't here, she was not, like, she's not, this is not on purpose.
Yeah.
This was very accidental. She goes on these bike rides all the time. And they did a really good job. They were like, let's get on it. Here we go. We got the Valencia County sheriffs. They call in help from departments across New Mexico. You got state police. You got Bernalillo County sheriffs from Albuquerque. Bloodhound teams are coming out.
Yay.
You got a state search and rescue team joining the efforts. They're searching foot. They're searching horseback. They're searching on ATVs.
Shout out.
They were living it up. They were doing it.
They were DTF.
They were DTF.
Down to find.
Yes. So they quickly find some vital clues along this route. They see like bike skid marks, and they almost look like the bike might have spun out. And then they see car tire marks, like from a car. So these marks look like they may have been a struggle. Maybe that the bike was hit. And then they find a piece. Oh, I forgot to tell you. She went on this bike ride with her Walkman because, you know, we don't have iPods. So you got the headphones and you got the Walkman with the cassette tape inside. Mm-hmm. And she loved listening to Boston.
Okay.
So and it was this bright yellow Walkman. So they find a piece of the Walkman, but they find just like the little window part of it.
Uh-huh. Where you put the cassette.
Yeah. And they find the cassette tape.
And it's Boston.
Oh, God. So
she did that on purpose, I bet.
Well, that's what they were like, okay, did she do this on purpose? Or, like, what do we think?
Not like Sherry Papini on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I know
my mom will know it's me if I leave this here.
So police find like several witnesses. They find 7 who said that they saw a woman matching Tara's description on the day that she went missing. And then 5 of those 7 saw that she was being followed by a light-colored, like a light-colored Ford, maybe a Ford pickup truck, but it had one of those camper shells on the back.
Always
following closely behind.
Sus.
So they also noted that she was wearing headphones, and you know what? They said she did not seem to be aware.
Oh, God.
She was not aware that she was being followed.
The good thing about the headphones is you can get lost. The bad thing is you get lost.
And that's why we say stay aware, because I may not always stay aware and probably never stay aware. But I like to practice I like to preach and preach it. And I might not practice, but I'm working on it. Okay? So she was not aware. And if she's not aware that she's been followed, it's not good.
Yeah.
The following day was like bad weather. Rainy, rainy, rainy. And they're like, well, we're just going to keep searching. Weeks and weeks and weeks. They got no clues. They got no bike. They got nothing. 9 months later.
Oh, God.
Well, how do you even do that with 9 months? I can't even, like, I'm worried about my dog at the damn vet, and he's fine. And I'm like, that's like hours. How do you do 9 months? How do you even go to sleep? Do you just sit there and then your body just shuts down and you fall asleep? How would you?
I think they
like,
have to
how
have
do you
medicine
live
to go to sleep.
when you know your like child is missing? Like, I mean, that's.
I think they only live because they could come back, so they want to be there when they come back, right? Or to know, or in case the child needs them.
I mean, how do you shut off?
Medicine.
I know.
medicine. They didn't have Xanax back then, but they had probably something similar.
Yeah. So they're trying to do everything they can, and they're getting nowhere. So then July 15th, 1989, which this is less than a year. Okay, but more than 9 months, but less than a year.
Yeah.
John, Tara's stepdad, gets a phone call from a friend who says that they watched this TV show called A Current Affair.
I remember that show.
Okay, what was that show? Was
A
it like
Current Affair?
Yeah, but I mean, what was it like? America's Most Wanted, or was it like
I don't know. I just remember A Current Affair coming
like
on.
a news show? Maybe just like I don't know. I
Maybe
guess-
what was in the news right
Yeah.
now, like certain stories.
Yeah,
It was maybe a twist of like unsolved mysteries, but I felt like it all came on all the time.
yeah.
Next on A Current Affair.
I know. Look it up.
Is there red writing or blue writing?
I
Okay.
did Google
I
it.
just had a visual.
So they this person this friend said that they saw an episode that did a story about a Polaroid that was found that was concerning to him, and this friend calls John. Did I say that? Yeah. Oh, John got the phone call from the friend, and the friend's like, I watched Current Affair and I saw this episode with this Polaroid.
It was blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's like, there's this episode on the show that I watched, might be interested in. And this Polaroid, I'll come back to that. This Polaroid was found in Port St. Joe, Florida, at a convenience store. Okay, the Polaroid was found in Florida. This
Happened in New Mexico.
So a woman walked into the store and noticed that a guy is sitting in a creepy white van. And let's be honest,
Was it my daddy? My daddy drove a creepy white van.
white
at that
vans
time.
are never a good sign. Never a good sign. So when the lady came out of the store, she looked and the white van was gone. But she noticed on the ground, on the floor, was a Polaroid picture. And it was like right where that van was parked. And so she picked it up. And this picture is a very disturbing picture. And you're going to help me explain what it looks like.
Oh, can we
Okay.
do like Britt? Ash
Yeah.
and Britt?
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like- okay. Wait, scroll down. I can't do it. Okay, so you have to say,
Okay.
okay.
So
What do you see?
I'm going to go ahead and email you this picture, April, and let me know what you think.
Okay, let me see. Oh. Okay, so I see the creepy white van, and it looks like what could be two teenagers taped up, maybe their arms bound. They're laying on pillows. Am I doing it? They're
Yes.
laying on pillows. I can't really tell if one of them is a male or a female. It could be a male with long hair. Either way, they're both white teenage people.
I mean, I don't think so, but I mean,
She's always a bitch. She always negates everything.
She's always like,
Actually, it's
I'm like,
100% opposite of what it is.
no, I'm like, you literally wrote that script for her to say that, and you literally are sitting here bitching her out.
She's like, well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that sounds okay, but no.
I don't see boobs here, but
Okay.
she was an endurance athlete, and I had to buy boobs when I was an endurance athlete. So I don't know if that's a male or a female.
Oh, I feel like it's this day and age, there's no telling.
Mm-hmm.
But back at 1988 or 89, most likely that was a female. So this picture is a
So what
picture
is
of
that,
them.
a
They're
male?
side by side. Yeah, that's a little boy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this is what we're going with. So they have, did you say what they had? I couldn't even listen. They both have their hands are bound behind their back,
Yeah.
and they have duct tape over their mouths. They're laying next to each other. And then, like I said, get April's opinion of the picture. They both look real pissed, and it looks like maybe, what do you think their ages would be? Like, it looks like
He was a lot younger.
yeah.
Oh, but that is her right there.
Okay.
Okay. He's a lot younger. These pillows don't have pillowcases on them.
Oh.
It looks like he could have been like 8.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Or
But what
9.
is this back here in the background? Is that like that looks like a truck with the camper top, I think. Or is it a white van?
I don't know.
Okay, but then, it's not showing in the picture.
Because these are like faux windows. Wow, y'all, just go look at it. I don't know. But she said it was a white van.
So it must got cut off. So there's been, I'll come back to the book. There's been several theories that have been floated around about this picture. Because one of the theories is it fake? Because people are like, well, you can't see the bindings. You can't see that they've been bound. Mm-hmm. They don't look like their arms are like super tight because her shoulders are kind of relaxed. Mm-hmm. But one thing that is for sure is that nobody has come forward, even to this day, of
who is in that picture. And that was obviously everywhere. It was on a current affair.
Yeah, it was definitely on a current affair.
Okay.
So this lady who found the picture, she calls police, obviously, because that's a real creepy picture to find in a parking lot under a white van.
That's when Karens knew their place. Like that's when the Karen
was
a good Karen.
Karen was good. Now Karens are all
doing too much.
Doing too much.
It's the good type of Karen.
So go back to the 1980 Karen.
Yeah, let's do that.
So she tells police that the man in the van looked like he was in his 30s and with a mustache. That's all she really got. She didn't really get much information. There was nobody in the passenger seat, and that she said the van was a white Toyota cargo van with no windows. That is the creepiest. I don't care if you're a painter, it's still creepy. I don't even know. Police set up these police are DTF. They set up roadblocks. They try to search for this van. They're asking for any witnesses, and they're like,
in Florida. They're doing this in Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And they're thinking, well, maybe these are two trafficked victims, because that's exactly what you go for, like a young white girl or a little boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't know if it matters if you're white. Does it?
If what?
For trafficking?
No, actually, when Suramuchi came to our book club, it's young black females who are trafficked the most. You just see pictures of them less because people glance over the pictures of the black victims and look for the white victims. So it's actually young black females that are trafficked the most.
But I think it's females more.
And I always think,
girls more than boys. And then maybe that's why they don't look sickly, is because you don't want your trafficked kids to look like beat up and battered and bruised.
Which is why we called Sherry Papini's bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm. But you're getting trafficked. So
also, fun fact: boys don't get trafficked as much now. Guess why?
Why? I don't know. Cause
Grindr. All you got to do is get on Grindr if you want to screw a boy. It's just like there and free.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.
heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach,
And I'm Mike.
and we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Bros and Foes and Heroes. Gonna tell you about Bros and Foes and Heroes. Gonna tell you about.
911, what's your emergency?
Do you hear that? It's coming from the house.
It's coming from inside the house? Do you mean? Could it be?
The Poltergeist. New from Rogue Media. Two haunted hotties talking about haunted places. Every episode, we dive deep into the darkest places and give you a bit of history.
We're getting spooky in all the right places.
You've gobbled your last ghoul.
Follow along for the craziest and spookiest stories with Debbie's Dark Tourism. The Stanley Hotel,
Winchester House,
The Alamo,
Hotel Monte Vista,
and more spooky places. Find us at _Poltergals. POLTERGALS.
Look over your shoulder. It's us,
The Poltergals. Wherever you consume the podcast, you can find us there.
Nobody's recognizing these kids. Moving on. 6 weeks go by, and the police turn to the public. They're like, we need your help. Go into the media. We need to figure out if anybody recognizes these kids. This is how the photo gets on A Current Affair.
Okay.
So this is where John's friend, John's stepdad John, this is where he is told to go to look at the picture.
Okay.
Got it? So when John and Patty see the picture, this Polaroid, they're like, that's her. That's Tara.
Yeah.
Tara. Patty is 100% convinced. 100%. This is her daughter. She points out this calic in her hair. You probably pulled the
And
picture.
the mama knows.
She points out this calic in her hair, and she's like, that's what she looks like without makeup, and she hasn't had a perm, and that's her. I'm sure that's her. That's her. And white people perm is curly hair, not straight.
Yeah.
So she also points out that there is this scar on her leg that she got from being in a car wreck. And she said you can see the scar
Right
on
here?
her calf
Yeah, I see it.
area, and that was go back to where you see the book, and like that was for sure her, because that's the scar that she got in this wreck. And then they see the book in this picture, and this book is called My Sweet Audrina by V.C. Andrews, which is one of Tara's favorite authors. Mine too.
Oh, is it?
What's your favorite author? Arthur, the show. That's my favorite Arthur.
Irish Johansson and Rule.
Oh, I do actually know Anne Rule. Oh my gosh. So then Tara's mom and Patty is for sure 100%. She's like, that's her. But who's the boy? That's the question. Well, when this aired on TV on The Current Affair, another family came forward thinking that the young boy looked like their missing child, Michael Henley, who was 9 years old and went missing in New Mexico in the Zuni Mountains. He had been hunting with his dad. They were on a camping trip in April 1988. And so Tara and Michael's parents both get together. They've never met. They get together. They go to Florida and to meet with detectives, and they're trying to find out more about this because they're like, they both think that that's their kid in the photo. So FBI does an analysis of this photo and this full analysis. So Patty's like, yes, I think it's 100% Tara. But then Michael's parents, they weren't really that certain. I don't think they wanted to really commit to being like, we know that's him, because they just weren't really for sure.
All three, no, 2 of my 3 little brothers looks literally just like them too.
Yeah, I
could be
looked at like that little boy.
Yeah.
I mean, so you just can't really tell without seeing the face. So Tara and Michael both disappeared within a couple months of each other, and then law enforcement goes a step further and they contact Polaroid, because they're thinking maybe Polaroid will help us figure out some more details as far as like when this film was made.
How?
Because
there's no technology back then.
Polaroid is able to determine when that type of film was
put out.
They said that type of film, whatever, I guess it has those little gold numbers at the bottom, of each picture.
Okay.
So they were able to say that that film wasn't made until May of 1989. What month did they go missing? I don't know. After May.
No, it was in 88. They went missing in 88.
Yeah, so they were saying, okay, this picture would have been, so the photo would have been taken after, right?
Yeah.
So it's possible that these 2 images, that the 2 in the image could be Tara and Michael, but when the results of FBI analysis come back, it isn't definitive. The photo is also taken to this like super renowned research facility in New Mexico, and they come back with contradicting opinions on if it is or isn't Tara or Michael, and it just kind of gets a little wild. Like, one of them says it definitely is Tara. The other one says it definitely isn't Tara. And
questionable.
So in 2008, the lab that said it wasn't her, like, either way, there was no consensus on if it was her or not. So this does not stop Patty. She's like, okay, even though y'all can't make up your minds, I'm still DTF.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm bringing her home. I'm all about it. Well, unfortunately for Michael, he was later found dead in June of 1990. And because remember, he was out camping with his dad or at the mountains, and he was found just a few miles from his family campsite. And his autopsy revealed that he had died of exposure due to being lost in the woods and had dehydration.
So that wasn't him in the picture.
So it was not him in the picture.
Wow.
So that was not him in the photo.
I think it was my little brother David. David, is that you?
Might have been. Look at him closer. So Patty and John continue to stay with the investigation, and in 1991, they go through training to be auxiliary deputies.
What is that?
I don't know, but
do they still have the training? Can I be one?
Yes. All it was consisted of like background check and maybe a couple other things.
Oh, I won't pass it.
Oh, okay. So they become deputies for the Valencia County Sheriff's Department, and these deputies, as deputies now, they can both carry weapons, they can talk to law enforcement agencies on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, giving them more access than the average person or citizen, and it's a little less than what police officers know, but it's more than what civilians or citizens know.
Okay.
So with this new access, Patty is getting pretty close to the old or former Valencia County Sheriff.
Uh-oh.
I know, that's what I
How
thought.
close?
That's what I thought the first time. I was like, okay, girl. This guy, remember this name, Lawrence Romero.
Okay.
Okay. So Lawrence also lost a child over the course of the investigation because his son, Lawrence Jr., which is also
LJ.
important, committed suicide in 1991. So they've kind of bonded over like missing children or having lost children.
Okay.
So at this point, Patty is basically working for investigation discovery, Secret Service, CSI, FBI. She just is like, the police are sending her pictures. They're sending her everything. They're like, maybe this. But they're not only sending her pictures. They're sending her pictures of like dismembered bodies.
Oh.
To try to see if, is this Tara? Is this Tara? Because she's like wanting to be so involved.
Yeah.
She's agonizing over it she wants every single photo. She wants to be so involved. She's like,
yeah,
too DTF.
Yeah.
She's over DTF.
You think so?
Well, yes, because
I would want to roll out every single body, I would think.
Yeah, but do you want him to send you pictures of?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I would too, but she obviously could not handle it.
I think I would want that now. I got pancreatitis. I think I would want
gastric
that now.
bypass.
But I don't know that I would want it if it could possibly be my kid. So I'll take that back.
Well, in 2003, Patty and John leave New Mexico and they move to Florida because they want a fresh start. Because the stress was getting to Patty. The stress of Tara's disappearance was wearing on them, taking a toll on Patty's physical and mental health. And she passed away in 2006.
No.
Yes.
She moved to Florida. That wasn't to get a rest because that's the last place
I
she
know.
thought her daughter was.
I know. But guess what? Her stepdaughter, Michelle.
Which was John's daughter. Okay.
She was DTF to pick. She's like, okay, I'm DTF
Picking
now.
it up.
I'm picking it up, and I am continuing with this investigation.
love
I'm
it.
all about it.
Michelle.
So she picks up where she left off. In 2008, 2 years after Patty passes away, the Valenciaga. I got Balenciaga on the brain. Woo, ew. Sheriff Renee Rivera says in 2008, 2008, Sheriff Renee.
How many years is this?
30.
No.
No. Currently, right now, it's like...
No, in 2008.
In
So
2008, it's like
to
20 years, right?
Wow.
88, 98. Do you know her math?
No.
I don't either. So, it's 2008. Sheriff Rivera. I'm going to call him Renee. Sheriff Renee says he knows exactly what happened to Tara and who's responsible.
Okay.
He says that there were two suspects and they were teenagers, and then back in 1988 when Tara vanished, that they had help from a couple other people. He believed that Tara her body never left New Mexico alive. Didn't even leave Valencia County.
Mm.
He also doesn't think that it's Tara in the Polaroid. In the picture. So he said two teenagers were driving in an old pickup truck, just like the witnesses described. And whenever they saw Tara riding her bike, they decided to follow her, that they knew her.
Okay.
And that they started like grabbing at her out the window. Like they're like that's creepy, like trying to grab at her, and they start like catcalling her and like
so she probably stops
being
on her
real
brakes.
Freaking annoying. And then things took a bad turn. They end up hitting her bike with their truck. And then the sheriff says he thinks it was an accident. They weren't trying to run her over. Great. She fell off her bike. The guys panic. They pick her up. They put her and her bike in the truck, abduct her. Then they dump her bike along the way. He said he thinks that she was possibly hurt or like during the fall, or she threatened to call the police, and things spiraled and they panicked and they were scared that they were going to go to jail. And so that was his theory.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a theory on exactly how things transpired after that or how she was murdered.
Or where they would have put her.
But he thinks that the teens had help from two other people, and he won't formally name anyone.
Why?
Okay. Well, once Tara's family hears about this, and
it's the kid that committed suicide. It's the sheriff's son. That's why he committed suicide. That's why the sheriff was so involved and so close. I solved it. Podcast over.
Podcast over. Okay, but why is the sheriff over here talking all this stuff? Was he in on it?
Who, Renee?
Renee?
¿Cuántos años tienes, Renee?
Yeah, yo quiero Taco Bell.
How old is Renee?
I don't know. I don't know
Would
how
he have
old.
been a teenager back then?
No, but he could be friends with the other guy.
And that's why you won't name him?
So once Tara's family hears about this and they're waiting, they're anticipating, they're like, yeah, somebody's going to get arrested. We're going to find out what happened. We're going to finally get closure after 20 years.
Wow.
But
that's why Renee joined the force, so he can...
good old Sheriff Renee says he put together a solid case against these guys, but he won't pull the trigger and arrest them because he says they do have a case to put together, but they wanted to make sure that the case is concrete, it's rock solid, and that they can effectively do their jobs, and that he wanted a little bit more evidence like her bike, her clothes, or her body, and he would not release the evidence that led him to this conclusion.
Because the sheriff would retaliate and fire him. Wow.
John was pissed.
Yes.
Anybody
You
should be.
Call in the Texas Rangers. It's just right next door.
There you go. So the sheriff, he said the sheriff shouldn't have made these comments if he wasn't going to or willing to make an arrest, and that strong circumstantial evidence should be enough for a conviction. And so to me, all of this sounds very suspicious.
Yeah.
And this is when I asked you about your predictions, but you already gave me your predictions, so I don't have to ask. So now Tara and her family are back to square one. Well, this investigation continues, and it's 2009. It's 20 years after the Polaroid was found, and now pictures of a boy were sent to Port St. Joe, Florida, the police chief up in Florida. And it was a picture that was postmarked June of 2009, which was like a couple of days before the anniversary of when the actual photo was found.
Okay.
And it was basically, the image was of a young boy, that same young boy, but with marker drawn over the mouth, like it was duct tape, like intimidating, like imitating the boy in the original picture. And so initially he assumes that it's some kind of prank or like F you to the police, but then the local newspaper gets the same photo sent to them, so they're like, what is happening? And it was postmarked from Albuquerque. And it's just like all this like is somebody taunting this?
Somebody is having fun with this.
This gets them nowhere. Then, October 2013, 25 years after the disappearance, the vanishment. They are, I guess half of this law enforcement is determined because they create a task force and they are wanting to reopen the case.
Please do.
So they reopen the case in hopes that with the new modern technology that they will go and look at the old evidence and they will find something that they didn't see before. So
or maybe somebody filed a paper in the wrong folder like Delphi.
I can't. They assembled this task force, and it is includes home security, state police, 2 sheriff's departments, and local police. So it's got a good amount of people involved. So they do an interview with another former deputy, Frank Mathola.
Okay.
Frank tells them about a deathbed statement that he took while he was in the sheriff's department. So a literal deathbed confession from this guy named Henry Brown. He wanted to confess something before he died.
Was Henry also a sheriff?
No, Henry was like a school teacher.
Oh.
That ain't good. So Henry said he knew exactly what happened to Tara and who killed her. This is Henry's confession. Back in 1988, he said he lived down the street from a trailer where this other guy lived. This other guy would have friends over to party in this basement that he built. Well, Henry would go over to this trailer and party with them. But the name of the guy who lives in the trailer?
Is LJ Jr.
Lawrence Romero Jr. Remember, that's the one of the old sheriffs whose son died, and that's the one who bonded with Patty, Tara's mom. So Henry said that he was down in the basement one night, and around that time, the same time that Tara disappeared, and he saw something that he described as a grave wrapped in blue tarp, meaning like a human-sized body.
Yeah.
So he said there were 3 guys: Lawrence, Leroy. This would be 4 guys. Lawrence, Leroy, David, and then another man, redheaded guy.
Hey, nothing good will ever happen with anybody named Leroy.
Leroy and random redheaded guy with no name.
Oh, a random redhead?
With no name.
No.
They start talking about how they knew Tara because she used to date a friend of theirs. And they all look redheaded.
Are they all gingers?
Also knew that she took the same bike route every day, and they would see her out on her 17-mile bike route on that same State Road 47. So they said that, how they were driving out in this old pickup truck. They had knocked her off her bike. This is what Henry's saying. This is his recount. He says, he goes on and tells Frank that Lawrence, Leroy, David, and the redheaded guy kidnapped Tara, took her out to a gravel pits nearby, sexually assaulted her, and that she fought. And she fought. And even after being brutalized, Henry said Lawrence told him that she threatened to go to the police, so Lawrence got out a knife. Lawrence Jr. Got out a knife and stabbed her, and then put her body in the basement. Later, taking it to Redhead's house, dumping it in a nearby pond. And it turns out Lawrence Jr. likes to brag that since his dad was the sheriff, he could pretty much get away with committing any crime, and that they took the pink bike to a junkyard where it would never be found.
Oh, my God.
So by the time this task force hears this, Lawrence is dead. He's been dead for about 20 years. Henry's dead. Frank has resigned from the department. And so there's really no way to prove or disprove anything about this case. But if you go back to the 2008 announcement with Renee, it's like the same story.
So has Renee said, yeah, that's who I meant. That's right. Like, has he confirmed this?
Renee had said it. I think I looked it up, and I think
Renee's a poontang.
I think Renee might have already died too, but I'm not sure. But that story matches. It matches the teenage boys, it matches the pickup truck, it matches accidentally ran into the car, and I mean, basically the thoughts of everyone around is that it was a violent abduction, it was a murder. This was covered up by Romero Sr. and Jr., and that Renee may have potentially also been involved in the cover-up as well. Yes. So let me tell you, where we are now is that we don't have enough evidence
to say it's closed.
To say, and we don't even know what information law enforcement has, but I feel like it can still be solved because I feel like so many people know a lot. I don't know.
But still,
the most recent update is from 2018, and the update is from 2019, where the FBI posted the $20,000 reward, which is still happening out there now because they're waiting for tips. Any tips out there, Yeah. I don't know. But that's what's posted. And remember how I told you Sister Michelle was DTF?
Yeah.
Sister Michelle still thinks that that's Tara in the photo. And it doesn't really make any sense. I don't know if it can be, I don't know. But she started working closely with a lady named Melinda Esquivel.
Mm-hmm.
And Melinda Esquivel is a host of the podcast Vanished, the Tara Calico investigation.
Oh.
She grew up with Tara.
Melinda did.
Was like in the band with her and kind of knew her, so that's kind of why she's really invested in it. And so they have this podcast out there that kind of talks about more details of everything, and you can go listen to it. They also have a website, taracalico.com. Pretty simple. And then for if you have any tips, tips.fbi.gov.
Wow.
And that's...
Did Daddy Romero get fired?
They all resigned.
Okay, they did.
Yeah. So nobody's... I think a bunch of people know, because like even I was listening to something and they said that this Melinda girl who does the Vanished podcast, that she lives in LA, and she was talking about it with some friends, and they were like, oh yeah, we all know who did it. We all know who did it. And they were like, somebody just has to say, like, we just have to find evidence, I guess.
Yeah, because people are saying it.
Yeah.
So they know the story, but there's nothing to back it up. There's no body. There's no bike. There's no confession letter.
So
and
we just
obviously
gotta get
that's
searching.
why Junior committed suicide. Like he obviously had some guilt at some point when he.
Can you believe that law enforcement was so invested in it, and then the whole time they're covering it up? But I don't think all it was only those few that knew.
That's what's happening with the Kylie Rodney situation. I feel
Oh,
like,
for
too.
sure.
Wow. I knew the name. I never knew the story. It's really shallow why I didn't know the stories, because Calico is a type of cat, and I was like not interested. But it's such a good story, and it's so sad. This is our second.
I know. I
teenager
knew
that
about.
went-
I know. But when I saw it pop up on my Instagram, I was like, "Why is this picture showing up?" And why don't? And I was like, "I know this story. I've heard it before."
Yeah.
And I was like, "We never talked about it." So if you a lot of people in true crime world have heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
Or know as I knew the name, but we all
It's
know
one
the
of the
name
originals.
Of the story. Yes, it's an OG. So you're welcome. I gotta go pick up my
Wow.
dog.
Yes, y'all. Rate, review, subscribe. Don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be TTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.